So every week I get recommended a bunch of content outside of the UK and the USA. A lot of Indian content I've been watching, which is great, and I'm just starting to understand how diverse this world is. And I try and pick at random this massive list that I have. And one dropped on Netflix recently, and I thought I'd seen part one. I'm not so sure that I have now, but I'm not so sure that it matters. So, anyway, we're talking about Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2. Bhool Bhulaiyaa 2. I probably designated the name. Anyway, it's on Netflix now, so I thought I would kind of review this after I'd seen it because it's an interesting one to talk about. Have you seen this film? Let me know your thoughts about this film. Give me your lists again. I will keep adding to them and pick one at weekly. I think I'm going to try and do one and do a weekly film like this that you guys suggest. It is a lot of fun to see what they are. I don't always enjoy them, but for now, let's jump in. A casual encounter between two strangers, Rohan and Reet, sends them to visit Reet's hometown in Rajasthan, where they uncover an old secret that results in panic. It's always exciting to me when I stick on a film with a culture that I don't expect to see this type of genre with. This sort of fantasy horror. It's not really fantasy, it's more horror with the kind of spiritual aspects of it. And it's not really horror, it kind of plays a little bit with those. There's nothing in here that's going to send you reeling over the edge and go, that was terrifying. None of that. It's also a comedy movie. In fact, it's kind of two movies. It's this romance comedy movie about our main protagonist, who's a guy that is an adventurer. He just kind of is experiencing the world, hasn't really found anything that's like put his feet to the ground and wants to stay in one place. And then we have a woman as well, our protagonist, who doesn't want to get married and wants her sister to get married. And so there's this whole story of them pretending to her to be dead. Well, there is also the darker story about, and that's something that explained in the film, which I'm not going to give away, but there is this spirit entity that is in the house that's locked away. And say house, it's like a palace, it's massive. And so we have these two stories. Well, this family is connected, and our main protagonist pretends to be a kind of I see dead people, like in the Sixth Sense, I see dead people, so that he can help this woman be with her family, but they don't know that she's alive. It's just this kind of complicated, overcomplicated storyline, but it works for what it is. It's quite funny, slapstick sometimes. But the lines themselves, the dialogue, I found myself laughing quite a bit. There were moments in it that I thought were genuinely funny, good dialogue that I could get. When somebody's so scared, instead of saying the words that they're supposed to say, they get dyslexic, and like I am, I understand that pain and say the wrong words. For example, a cat jumps on our main protagonist's dude, and instead of saying black cat, he says clack bat, which in connection with the film when you're watching it is really funny, and it's delivered in a way that you're like, yeah, I really found that these characters were likable. There are a couple of dance moments as well. One, I really liked how they included it as part of the story. There's a dance festival, and I thought, yeah, that's done it really well. And then another took me so much out of the film that I think they could have just removed the whole dance number, because it was like, we're stopping the movie and now we're doing a dance number, and we're going to do 2-3 minutes, and because this is what we do as part of the culture. And it's like, okay, fair enough. But there was one that worked and one that was just like really weird way to kind of no transition into a music number. That's fine. That was like my least favorite thing about the film. And saying that, there are some great special effects in this when they lean themselves into the horror, and the story becomes the thriller instead, which is going to be when we're dealing with possession. It's interesting to me that there was a remark at the beginning of the film where I've not intended any kind of supernatural entities, or we're not saying that you should investigate, witchcraft of any kind. And I thought, yeah, I guess that's another thing about the culture, because here in the UK or United States, you would never get a warning like, well, this is not what we're instigating or meaning. It's just part of culture. We see that all over, witchcraft in every version. So it was interesting to me to see how many warnings you get on films like these. One that I was not expecting to see. The acting I thought was good, believable. Sometimes too over the top slapstick. There's one particular character that was just way over the top, way overacting, and I didn't like that. I didn't buy it, because sometimes the characters that we get, we know they're overacting, the good ones, the main protagonists, but it's genuine and you like it. And then there's one, well, maybe a couple of characters that overreact, Again, I think that's part of the culture in the movie, and I'm just like, yeah, if that guy was a little bit less over the top, I think it would have been fine. It wouldn't have detracted anything away from the film. However, the film itself is a lot of fun. There's enough in there to keep you invested with wanting our two main protagonists to get together, also wanting the family to sort out this spirit that is being you know the story behind it without doing spoilers. You want them to sort that out, and you want the family to be together again. So you like them enough to keep watching, and the story has enough going on with its effects as well, which are good. That I thought this was a fun one-time watch. Not the best thing I've ever seen, but genuinely funny in moments, genuinely interesting, not scary, but scary, thrilling. Let's say that. Thrilling enough. So I'm going to give this 3 Nicolas Cages out of 5. I don't think it warrants a higher score than that, but it's definitely over the halfway mark, if that makes sense. Let me know your score. Let me know what other ones I should watch. Thanks so much for recommending this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.